In this vid, I'm going to be reviewing a deck by WaterandGrass. At first look, I thought this was just another Kingdra Yanmega deck, which isn't a bad thing, but it's a deck that I've seen quite a few times. When I started to really look at it though, I noticed that there wasn't a Jirachi like most Kingdra Yanmega decks run, but a Donphan instead. So I think this is a really interesting deck, and I'm really interested to just take a closer look at this deck. Your starter Pokemon is Cleffa. You run 2 of them as well as 1 Tyrogue. The Tyrogue is in case you can donk your opponent's Cleffa, and hopefully with 2 Cleffa in the deck you're not going to get donked yourself. I really like Manamphy for shuffle power, but it only lets you draw 5, while Cleffa's Eek can let you draw 6. The rest of your Pokemon line is pretty straightforward. You run a 2-2 line of Donphan, a 3-1-3 line of Kingdra Prime, and a 4-4 Yanmega. Yanmega is your main attacker and as well as your strongest attacker, being that it can snipe for 40. Add that to Kingdra Spray Splash, which can do 1 damage counter, and if you have 2 Kingdra on the bench, that means that you're going to be sniping for 60 every turn. That's a great snipe. I would recommend running a 3-2-3 line of Kingdra instead of a 3-1-3, just in case you're running into any Vileplume, so you have a better chance of getting out multiple Kingdra. I would also swap out 1 Kingdra Prime for 1 non-Kingdra Prime. I recommend this one for your fire decks, because what Stream Pump can do 80, and against fire decks, obviously that's going to do 160, while Dragon's Team unfortunately only does 20 when a fire Pokemon is in play. Kingdra is still great for Donphans, but a lot of other Donphan decks are running fire Pokemon just to reduce the base damage from 60 down to 20. The non-prime Kingdra doesn't have to worry about that though. That's a reason why I suggest going a 3-2-3 with the 3 line being split up 2 Kingdra Prime and 1 non-prime. While your energy line is pretty good, I would recommend increasing your fighting energy. Heavy Impact needs 3 fighting to attack, and this is the ideal attack because you don't want to have to Earthquake and do 10 damage to your bench. To make room for those extra fighting energy, I would recommend decreasing your water and decreasing your grass by 1. Hopefully you won't need your grass at all if you can get your hand size down to the same as your opponent for Yanmega, and both of the Kingdras only require 1 water energy for their attacks. Even Kingdra's Stream Pump can use 2 colorless. You currently run 2 Flower Shop, but I would recommend decreasing that to 1 so that you can make room for 1 Twins, just in case you're a little behind. You run 3 Pokemon Collector, which I think is the perfect number. Even if you're using a Collector late game, you can always combine it with one of your 3 Communication to swap it out for any other Pokemon. You run 4 Rare Candy in the deck, which I think is a bit too high. Kingdra is the only Pokemon that you're going to need it on, so I think you can safely reduce your Rare Candy count to 2. You can always reuse Rare Candy with any one of your 3 Junk Arms, and I think 3 is a good number. You run 4 Copycat and 4 Judge, which is a perfect number because you're really going to be relying on the same hand size as your opponent. You run a combination of 4 Pawnt and 4 Juniper. I would reduce that to just 1 single Juniper. With the Judge and the Copycat, you should have plenty of hand refresher power, and Juniper, the 1 Juniper, is just there in case you absolutely need it. With that reduction, we have room for a few other cards. I would include 1 Switch, pretty much for your Donphan, since it has such a high retreat cost of 4, or for any sleeping babies. And I would also recommend throwing in at least 2 Pokemon Reversal, or when it comes out, Pokemon Catcher. Those are all the suggestions I have. I already think this is an excellent deck, not only in that it's a very strong deck, I definitely think top tier deck, but it's also very well built. So if anyone else would like their deck reviewed, just PM me the list and let me know whether you'd like to be considered for a video review, which can take several weeks, or a blog review, which I can guarantee that you'll get and have a turnaround within 2 to 3 days. Thank you for watching.